Don't take my word for it. Roll the tape.
Going to fight on July 29th. Who wins and how?
Oh man, that's a great question. They're fighting, Max. That's how you're gonna know who's gonna win the fight. They're fighting, but I have some concerns. I really do. And the first thing that came to mind is can Crawford win a decision in Vegas? You have to understand this. Look at the history of Crawford and the way he starts fights. He's a bit of a slow starter, and you think about the way Spence starts fights. He's quick. He's quick out the gate. He's consistent with his offense. And going down the stretch, if he gets behind on the scorecards, Crawford, he's going to need a knockout to win in Vegas. And you got to understand that the history of the judging in Vegas. I remember the Floyd Mayweather era where defense was, thought to be great, and you were getting points for defense. But now it has shifted. Now it's more about the aggressive fighter, the fighter that throws more punches. That's what I'm seeing from Vegas judges now. Guys that are in your face, pressing the action, being the aggressor, and we know Spence is that guy. So that's my concern moving forward in this fight. But my pick has always been Terrence Crawford. I think.
Did y'all hear what Tim Bradley said? Let's do an audio check. Mic check 1 2 1 2. Can someone in the chat, or even in the comment section below, if you're watching the replay of this live, can somebody just acknowledge? I just want to do this for audio purposes only. Can you acknowledge if you heard what Tim Bradley said just now? Can y'all hear that? I had it on the highest volume with my iPad. Did y'all hear that? Can somebody in the chat let me know, yes or no, if you all can hear that? I didn't want any interruption. Did y'all hear that? Okay, somebody said yes. Thank you. 2 people said yes. Oh, 3. Thank you. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. 4 people. Thank y'all so much for your support. Y'all heard what Bradley said, right? That's what Bradley said. Now we're going to air fry on that. I have to. It's only right. Before I air fry on that, though, I find it very intriguing. I do. I find it intriguing. Not that he's picking Crawford to win this fight. I don't find that intriguing. That's his man. That's his guy. That's cool with me. I don't mind if people say Crawford's going to win. I don't mind if people say Spence is going to win. But I seen something in this interview that was totally different. That I don't understand, that intrigues me. Tim Bradley, just like most Terrence Bud Crawford fans, have said, I'm talking about on YouTube, specifically on this channel, in my chat, in my comment section, have said that Terrence Bud Crawford is going to knock Errol Spence out. They're basically going to fillet the fish, so to speak. They're going to take Spence out. As Bomac even said, Spence is done. So the part that's intriguing me about this thing with Terrence Crawford fighting Spence and Tim Bradley choosing Crawford to win, initially, people keep saying he's going to knock him out. He's going to stop Spence. So my question becomes to Tim Bradley, why are we talking about the judges in the first place? If Crawford's going to knock Spence out or stop him, like Tank Davis did Ryan Garcia, they didn't need no judges. Their scorecards didn't matter after round 7 because the fight was over, right? So if this same outcome is going to happen with Spence, why are we talking about the judges? Max Kellerman did not ask Tim Bradley about the judges. He didn't ask him about it. So why all of a sudden now? First it was Crawford's going to wash the floor with Spence. Why are we talking about the judges now in Vegas? I mean, what else are we going to have this fight at? Wasn't going to have it in Nebraska. Wasn't going to have it in Dallas, Texas. We need a neutral ground, right? So where else are we going to have this fight at? To produce the amount of revenue that, as promoters, as businessmen and women, we want this fight to produce. As the fighters, themselves who's being compensated as well. What else? Vegas. So why Tim Bradley bringing this up now? He didn't say nothing about the judges before. Matter of fact, I don't even remember Tim Bradley bringing the judges up before the Lomachenko and Haney fight. Did y'all? Maybe I missed something. Because that fight happened in Vegas, and we just already agreed to all of that in the chat. Lomachenko fought Devin Haney in Vegas, and that was on the same platform that pays Tim Bradley, ESPN, right? Oh, okay, so then why didn't we hear Tim Bradley bring up the judges in that fight? Before that fight happened, like before this fight's happening with Crawford and Spence, I didn't hear Tim Bradley say, oh man, you got to watch out for the judges. The judges might be, you got to watch out because they look for certain things now. It's changed, since the Floyd Mayweather era. You got to watch out when we talk about Lomachenko being an aggressor and how Devin Haney is a technician. We got to watch out for the judges. I didn't hear him say that before that fight. Did y'all? So why now? Why talk about it now? This fight's happening in Vegas. And the same judges that judge that fight over there with Haney and Lomachenko, they can be the same judges that judge this fight with Crawford and Spence because it's still under the Nevada State Athletic Commission. That's intriguing to me. Now, I'm going to roll the tape back about 20 seconds because I want y'all to hear something else that Tim Bradley said. Hold on 1 second. Let me cue it up.
Who wins and how?
Oh man, that's a great question. They're fighting, Max. That's how you're gonna know who's gonna win the fight. They're fighting, but I have some concerns. I really do. And the first thing that came to mind is can Crawford win a decision in Vegas?
Stop. Why is that a concern of yours, Crawford? He said he has a concern. Why is that a concern? Why? If the man's going to knock Spence out anyway, nobody should be concerned. If you believe that Crawford's going to knock Errol Spence out, there's nothing to be concerned about. Shall we continue?
You have to understand this. Look at the history of Crawford and the way he starts fights. He's a bit of a slow starter, and you think about the way Spence starts fights. He's quick. He's quick out the gate.
Stop right there. Look at the way that Crawford starts fights. That's what Bradley said, y'all. He starts too slow. And compare that to the way Spence starts fights. He's quick. He's alive out the gate. These are the words of Tim Bradley. Shall we continue?
He's consistent with his offense.
Spence is consistent with his offense. Not only is he quick as a starter, he jumps live out the gate. And what else did he just say? He's quick with his offense.
Down the stretch, if he gets behind on the scorecards, Crawford, he's going to need a knockout to win.
Stop. If he gets behind on the scorecards, Crawford, he's going to need a knockout to win. That's what Tim Bradley just said. Y'all heard him. What do you mean if, Tim Bradley? What do you mean if he gets behind on the scorecards? He's not going to be behind on the scorecards, Tim Bradley, because you and other Crawford fans said that he's going to knock Spence out anyway. So he's not going to be down on the score. And even if he is, he was down on the scorecards when he fought Sean Porter. Y'all remember that? And when Bo Mack told him, what was that, the 10th round or 9th round? He told him, yo, you losing this fight. And Crawford came out and knocked Sean Porter down. Y'all remember that? And then his dad stepped in and stopped the fight. Y'all remember that? That was the talking point of Terrence Ball Crawford fans all around the world. They kept saying when Terrence Ball Crawford came out of that round, he demolished Sean Porter. So my question is, if that's the case, it don't matter if he's down in the scorecards. He was down in the scorecards when he fought Porter. So what difference do it make if he's going to knock the guy out anyway? Salute to my guy, Philly Fight Doctor. Always a pleasure. I love seeing family in the chat. If Crawford was down in the scorecards when he fought Sean Porter, and his trainer, Bomac, told him, "You're losing this fight," and Crawford came out that round and knocked Sean Porter down, and then eventually getting a TKO stoppage, what difference does it make, Tim Bradley, if he's down on the scorecards? So, I have another question, and we need answers from Tim Bradley himself and for some Bud Crawford fans. I want to hear what you think as a Crawford fan, what Mr. Bradley said. You heard him live in living color right here. If you didn't hear that segment of Max on Boxing before today, you heard it just now. So the question I have, Tim Bradley, are you concerned about the judges? You know how the judges in Vegas, they score fights based on the fighter's aggression and the other fighter's defensive, technical, and tactical performance. Is that your concern? Or are you concerned about something else? Because what it sounds like to me, and I just rolled the tape and heard it again for myself, just, again, while I was replaying it for y'all. Tim Bradley told us what he really was concerned about. And he didn't say anything about the judges first. See, when you really want to know how a person feels, what do I tell you? I told you, now I got to give you another life principle. Every segment I do a life principle. Out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. When we say things out of our mouths, it comes from what's rooted in our hearts. And Tim Bradley said what was rooted in his heart. He said he had some concerns. But he didn't say his concern was the judges first. I'm going to replay it again because I don't want no misunderstandings. I'm going to replay it again so we can hear the abundance of his heart bring up the first thing that he was concerned about. Let me play it again. I'm going to roll the tape again. Give me a second. Hold on. Don't take my word for it. Let's hear the first thing from the abundance of the heart of Tim Bradley that came out of his mouth. The first concern that he has. Don't take my word for it. I ain't do this in a long time. Roll the tape.
Look at the history of Crawford and the way he starts fights. He's a bit of a slow starter, and you think about the way Spence starts fights. He's quick out the gate. He's consistent with his offense. And going down the stretch, if he gets behind on the scorecards, Crawford, he's going to need a knockout to win in Vegas. And you got to understand that the judges, the history.
Stop. Y'all know I have a problem with gaslighting, right? Y'all know I have a problem with projection, right? Y'all know I have a problem with manipulation, right? Y'all know I have a problem with, you know what? Y'all seen how I solve those problems, and I'm going to solve it right now with people that have been on this platform that try to do the same thing Bradley doing, right? Okay, great. Tim Bradley is trying to marry 2 points together. That's what he's trying to do. Nobody asked him about the judges. The question was, how do you see this fight playing out? And Bradley, a Hall of Famer, we have to give his words credibility. Tim Bradley is a Hall of Fame professional boxer. His words hold weight, and we're going to allow those same words to hold weight right now. Tim Bradley gave us his truth. His truth was, I have a concern. He didn't say, well, the judges, they haven't been doing too well in their last previous outings, judging fights in Vegas. That's not what he said. His real, true, genuine concern is that Crawford is a slow starter and Spence jumps out live out the gate as a quick starter. And Spence attacks on offense. And coming down the stretch of the fight, Crawford may be down on the scorecards and might need a knockout. That's Tim Bradley's true concern. It had nothing to do with the judges, because here's the thing that we all know about judges. They don't get in the ring and fight. They follow a scoring criteria. And I've already given you the scoring criteria a couple of weeks ago on this channel. The point that I'm making is that Tim Bradley seems to me, I'm not speaking on nobody else, I'm talking on me, that he's already trying to get into the minds of the fan base and manipulate the boxing public to believe that the judges are going to have it out for Crawford way before this fight starts. So my question a few minutes ago before I rolled the tape, I'm going to ask it again. If the judges in Vegas is a problem for Tim Bradley, why didn't he call the judges out before Lomachenko fought Devin Haney? Because those were judges that were being regulated by the Nevada State Athletic Commission, right? Because that fight happened in Vegas as well, correct? Okay, so why didn't he say nothing about the judges before Lomachenko fought Haney? And they fought on ESPN, and Tim Bradley was there. He ain't say nothing about the judges then. Tim Bradley didn't mention nothing about his concern for the judges in Vegas when Haney fought Lomachenko. So why now? Why talk about the judges before this fight happened in Vegas between Crawford and Spence? Want to know why? I'm going to tell you, it's very simple. It's because the judges is not his concern. Out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. And watch this other second principle that ties right into that. It's not what goes into your mouth that defiles you as a person. It's the words that come out of your mouth. Because the words that come out of our mouths come from where? Our hearts. And if Tim Bradley genuinely believed out of his heart of hearts that the Vegas judges has been an issue over the years since the Floyd Mayweather era, his words not mine, why didn't he speak up about the judges in Vegas before Haney and Lomachenko? So now we realize that's not the issue. He's trying to coincide both. He's trying to co-mingle both points, and we're not going to let him do that on the roller tape pot. I've been going for a week, so I got to come back with fire now. Air fryer been turned up. So now we're going to dispel that myth and throw that out the garbage can. We're going to throw that out. And we ain't talking about no judges. That's out of it now, Tim Bradley. You ain't speak on it against Haney and Lomachenko before they fought in Vegas. So now we going to throw that out. We're going to throw that out. And we're going to stick to the real concern you have. And the real concern that Tim Bradley had. And he said it, not my words. Y'all heard it. I played the tape back about 2 or 3 times. He's concerned that Terrence Bud Crawford starts slow. The judges don't have nothing to do with that. He's concerned that Errol Spence is a quick starter with speed. And he jumps out live from the gate. The judges don't have nothing to do with that. He's concerned that coming down the stretch of the fight, you know, when Spence usually turns up after the 7th round, y'all know what I'm talking about, right? When he jumps into second gear, y'all know what I'm talking about, right? When he changes levels, y'all know what I'm talking about, right? Down the stretch of the fight, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. That's what Tim Bradley was talking about. Yeah, let's keep it 100. So, the judges don't have nothing to do with that either. So the real concern has nothing to do with the judges. Maybe Tim Bradley, since he's cool with Crawford, maybe he needs to go over there and tell them that. he need to go to Bomac and them and tell them that. Because if you listen to what I said on previous live broadcasts right here, D-Town Boxing is a witness of mine. BBO Boxing, witness of mine. YSM Sports Media, a witness of mine. Crown Jewel Boxing, witness of mine. They've been on my panel several times with us talking about who's going to win and how. And guess what Manager Marty said? Thank you, Tim Bradley. I'll take the alley-oop. I said the same thing that Bradley said. If Crawford wanted to win this fight, he can't sit back and wait like he like to download information. That's what everybody keeps saying. He sits back for 3 or 4 rounds and download information. He can't do that with Spence. He's got to jump right out at Spence. He cannot afford to be down 3 or 4 rounds in a row. When a guy like Spence, who turns up after the 6th and 7th round, and he changes his levels, can't do that. I said it. So thank you, Tim Bradley, because what you're doing is you are confirming some of the same suspicions that Spence fans have against Crawford winning this fight. So maybe Bradley need to keep it 100. Don't bring the judges in this. Keep it real. Your concern ain't got nothing to do with the judges deep down in your heart, Bradley. It got something to do with the fact that Crawford starts slow. Downloading information. And not just slow to download information. It's the fact that Crawford starts slow and downloads information against a transit bus driver. He starts slow and download information against the Uber drivers. He starts and download information against the UPS driver and the mailman. That's the concern. In other words, is no disrespect to those professions. I love and respect those professions. What I'm saying is the level of competition. The opposition that Terrence Bud Crawford has faced, this is not an opinion, this is a fact, has been against lower level competition in the welterweight division, against at least 2 fighters who were already done and defeated, Kell Brook and Khan. My point is, he was downloading information against people who were not on the same level, performance-wise, skill-wise, domination-wise, as Spence. So if you downloading information and it's taking you 3 rounds to do all that, and then you got to switch hit and do all this extra pull and all these tools out the toolbox and all that for them, you're going to need the kitchen sink to fight Spence. And you got to use that kitchen sink in a very opening bell.